Okay, today, kids, we are going to look at what is called the rock cycle. And it's just like the water cycle or anything, it's a cycle, it goes around in a circle. So, your first assignment for this lesson was talking about weathering, erosion, and deposition. Remember, that's the weathering is the breaking down of the rock from the weather, erosion is moving the rock, and then deposition is the depositing or the placing, the putting down of the rock. So now we're going to look at how that affects the rock cycle, because as those things happen, different rocks are formed. So again, I'm going to enlarge this. My face will go away, but I still will stop and add some of my thoughts. Remember what we're looking at today. Our goal for today is to figure out how rocks turn into different types of the three rocks.
These cans are so heavy. I know I organized it, but this recycling drive is no fun.
Well, Mother Nature has enough on her plate already with all the cycles she's in charge of. It's only fair we help her out.
What other cycles? I don't see her lugging around 30-pound bags of cans.
Ha! Well, she can't collect cans, but the rock cycle is a lot like recycling.
Is the rock cycle gonna help me lift this bag of cans into that bin?
No, but it might help you understand what recycling is. When we recycle aluminum, like these cans, we melt it down from a can into pure aluminum again so it can be made into something else.
I didn't know recycling the cans meant melting them.
Yeah, and that's what happens in the rock cycle too. The rock cycle is the Earth's process of changing one type of rock into another type of rock.
Okay, so again, it's just taking one type of rock. The three rock types again are sedimentary, metamorphic, and igneous, and we'll go over those more in later lessons. But it takes one of those rocks and turns it into another type.
Okay, different types of rock. Music I know about, but different types of rocks?
3 actually: sedimentary, igneous, and metamorphic rock.
Okay, so those are your 3 main types of rocks: sedimentary, igneous, metamorphic.
The whole Earth is made up of these 3 types of rocks, and they're constantly changing from one kind to another through the rock cycle.
Wow, I thought rocks were just rocks.
No way. Let's start at the bottom, the very bottom. Deep inside the Earth, there's lots of heat. All that heat melts metamorphic rock into magma.
Rock melts?
Yeah, but it also cools. When that magma cools off inside the Earth, it hardens and becomes igneous rock, like granite. Other times, magma bursts from a volcano as lava. When it cools, that's igneous rock too, like...
Okay, so our first step in the rock cycle, or one of the steps, because there's not really a first step, is magma or lava cooling. Okay, we talked about that back with minerals, if you remember. Okay, it makes minerals, but then those minerals also make igneous rock.
Pumice.
What happens next? Now I'm
Stopping again, sorry. Pumice is a main example of an igneous rock. It's very porous, which means it has a lot of holes. If you've ever seen like a scraper people use on their feet to get off the dry skin, that would be made of pumice.
all into this.
Well, once the rock's on the Earth's surface, it's exposed to weather and erosion. The igneous rock begins to crack, crumble, and mix with other sediment. Erosion moves it around and deposits it in new places where the mix...
Okay, I'm going to stop it again real quick. Remembering now we're applying what we learned in our first lesson, okay? The weathering breaks it apart into what is called sediment. You should be anticipating where we're going. And then the erosion moves it. Now, think to yourself, what's the last step of that? That would be deposition.
of pieces get smushed together into chunks. These chunks are called sedimentary rocks. Limestone is a sedimentary rock.
And then?
Well, sedimentary rock is subjected to heat and pressure underground, such as when it's between the Earth's plates or in the core of a mountain. The pressure and heat turn it into metamorphic rock. Then the metamorphic rock melts into magma, and then it cools into igneous rock, and then...
Okay, I get it. Wow, so it just keeps going?
Rock cycle keeps on going just like we keep recycling.
So I think I get it. The rock cycle is the process of rocks changing from one type to another.
Okay, this is probably the most important thing you need to take from this, our objective for this little activity. It's the process of rocks changing from one type to another. As they said, igneous get weathered and eroded and turn them ultimately into sedimentary. Okay. Under heat and pressure, sedimentary turn into metamorphic, and it just keeps going in a circle.
There are 3 different types of rocks: sedimentary, igneous, and metamorphic. Physical and chemical changes like heat, pressure, weathering, and erosion all help change rocks from one type to another.
Hot stuff, huh?
Totally! Recycling is sort of like this never-ending rock cycle. Pretty cool how we can turn one thing into another, just like Mother Nature herself.
We're more powerful than we think sometimes.
Okay, guys, so your questions today are based on this video plus what I've shared with you. Again, the rock cycle is constantly changing. All right, well, good luck.